After my identical twin sister's tragic accident, my mother tried to transform me into her by starving and drugging me daily. When I discovered hidden evidence about what really happened that day, I orchestrated their complete downfall in front of the entire family. The greatest gift my parents ever gave me was my identical twin sister, Lily. Whenever Mom's comments made me spiral, she'd sneak into my room with stolen cookie dough and we'd eat it raw. She was the only one who ever got me. And one day, we were on our annual hiking trip with matching Gymshark sets when I slipped close to the edge. My mom froze, but Lily didn't. She lunged forward to grab me, pushing me back onto solid ground, but the momentum carried her over the edge. 6 days later, I was at her open casket service, hearing my aunt whisper to her daughter, "Such a shame. She was so beautiful," while staring directly at me. My parents waited 2 weeks before bringing her back from the dead. You see, Lily was always their favorite. The smarter one, the skinnier one, the one they could parade around family members and flaunt like she was a trophy, and now they needed a replacement. I was fast asleep at 5 a.m. when my mom barged through my bedroom door. "Time for your run," she exclaimed, pulling Lily's pink Nike running shoes from a box. "These will fit better once you've made progress." They were 2 sizes too small. She'd already laid out Lily's breakfast on the kitchen counter: 1 egg white, 6 blueberries, black coffee, the same meal Lily ate every morning for her modeling shoots. When I reached for a second cup of coffee, Mom called me Lily under her breath, then caught herself. We both pretended it didn't happen. By October, our bathroom had become a shrine to transformation. Mom installed a digital scale that connected to her phone, sending her alerts about my daily weigh-ins. She'd replaced my size medium clothes with Lily's extra smalls, hanging them in my closet with notes: December goal and spring target. Dad just watched from the doorway, mumbling things like, "Your mother needs this to heal." I started downloading Lily's workout apps, pretending her Lululemon sports bras almost fit. Anything to see Mom smile the way she used to smile at Lily. The modeling agency didn't question it when Mom brought me to Lily's scheduled shoots. "Just tell her to suck in," they'd say. Mom started introducing me as Lily to photographers who'd never met either of us. My own bed disappeared one day while I was at school, replaced with an elliptical machine. "Lily's bed has better back support anyway," Mom explained. So I slept surrounded by her things, her scent, her ghost. The only comfort I had left was Cheeto, our orange tabby who'd curl up on my chest when the hunger pains kept me awake. He was the only one who still knew I was Emma. Mom had always hated that cat, said he shed too much, made Lily's allergies act up, but Cheeto was the only thing that was still mine. Then came the day I found Cheeto's empty collar on the kitchen counter. "Oh, since Lily never liked cats, we put her down," Mom said, not looking up from her calorie tracking app. She was getting old anyway. When I started sobbing, she calmly explained that my breakfast portions would be cut in half for the next week. You shouldn't have enough energy to argue. That's when I started really looking at what I was eating. The protein powder tasted weird and made me dizzy. I found the container hidden behind Lily's old supplements and discovered it was laced with appetite suppressants, enough to make anyone sick. When I confronted them at dinner, Dad slapped me for the first time. The sound echoed through our kitchen like a gunshot. The next morning, I went straight to Ms. Patterson, the guidance counselor. She'd been watching me shrink for months, and when I told her everything, her face went pale. "Emma, Lily came to me before the trip," she said slowly. "She was terrified because your mom found out she'd been eating lunch with friends instead of throwing it away. She told me if I called CPS, then she would harm herself." I reached into my bag and pulled out Lily's iPhone. "I found this in Mom's car weeks ago, but I can't unlock it. I'd been carrying it around since she died, hoping that one day it would come in handy." Ms. Patterson studied my face. "Lily mentioned her password was something about you, something that showed how much she loved you. We tried everything: my name, my birthday, our inside jokes. Then she suggested my birthday backwards. It worked." The Voice Memos app was full of recordings, dated over the past year. Ms. Patterson and I listened together, her hand gripping mine as Lily's voice filled the room. The early recordings were just Mom screaming about portion sizes, Dad ranting about wasted investments, but the last recording, dated the night before the hiking trip, was different. "I don't care about being skinny anymore." Lily's voice was stronger than I'd ever heard it. "I'm done with modeling. I just want to be normal like Emma." Then Mom's voice, ice cold: "Maybe it's time you finally learned how fragile life really is." Suddenly it all made sense. Why Lily had been so quick to react on the hike that day. She knew what was coming. Ms. Patterson locked her office door and called her husband on speaker while I clutched Lily's phone. The police chief's voice filled the small room, but his response made my stomach drop. He dismissed the recordings as family grief matters, explaining they couldn't investigate based on angry teenage recordings. My hands shook as I gripped the phone tighter, watching Ms. Patterson's face fall with each word her husband spoke. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom asking where I was, mentioning my protein shake was getting warm. The realization hit me like ice water. She was tracking my location through Lily's fitness app still synced to her phone. My fingers fumbled as I deleted the apps, but Mom called immediately. Her voice was calm but threatening as she gave me 10 minutes to get home, or she'd report me as a runaway, adding that I was clearly having a breakdown just like Lily did. Ms. Patterson drove me home in silence, promising to document everything, but I could see Mom watching from the window with Dad, both looking like concerned parents. The perfect act they'd perfected over years. As we pulled up, I saw them exchange a look that made my skin crawl. Inside, Mom wrapped me in a tearful hug, explaining that Ms. Patterson had called about my delusions regarding them hurting Lily. She stroked my hair, promising to get me help with the same doctor who treated Lily's paranoia. The way she said it made everything click. They'd been planning this all along. She sent me to my room, which used to be Lily's, where I discovered my laptop missing and phone charger gone. Mom's voice drifted through the door, explaining it would help me rest. The walls felt like they were closing in as I sat on Lily's bed, surrounded by her things, trapped in her life. At 2 a.m., I crept downstairs to find Mom in Dad's office, feeding papers into the shredder. Lily's modeling contracts, medical records, anything with her real signature disappeared into ribbons. She turned when the floorboard creaked, her face eerily calm. She told me it was good I was up because it was time for my run, then demanded Lily's phone, revealing she'd known I had it all along. I refused, backing away, but Mom simply pulled out her phone and texted someone about me having another episode. Within minutes, headlights swept across the living room windows. Dr. Morrison arrived with a medical bag, the same psychiatrist who'd treated Lily's supposed paranoia. Dad appeared behind me, blocking my escape route. I screamed that they unalived Lily as Dad held my arms, but Dr. Morrison just prepared a syringe with practiced efficiency. In desperation, I managed to type a quick message to Sarah about checking Lily's phone, hitting send just as Mom's fist connected with my bedroom door, splintering the wood. The sedative burned through my veins as Dr. Morrison's voice faded in and out, telling Mom about the same delusions Lily had and the need for intensive treatment. Consciousness returned slowly, my mouth dry and head pounding. Sarah sat beside my bed, explaining Mom had called the whole family about my breakdown. She'd been brought in to help care for me, her eyes filled with confusion and concern. I reached for my phone with heavy limbs, discovering Mom had changed the Wi-Fi password overnight. My message to Sarah sat unsent in the outbox. Digital isolation complete. Mom brought breakfast on a tray, half an egg white and water. She explained Dr. Morrison believed my paranoia stemmed from malnutrition, so they needed to be more careful with my diet. The irony wasn't lost on me as I stared at the pathetic meal, remembering Lily's recordings about being starved. When my boss called about my shift, Mom intercepted, explaining my psychological crisis and need for extended treatment leave. I listened helplessly as she severed another connection to the outside world, her voice dripping with false concern. Each word carefully chosen to paint me as unstable, unreliable, dangerous to myself. Aunt Helen arrived that afternoon, the same one who'd made the cruel comment at Lily's funeral. Now she oozed fake sympathy, asking if I really thought Lily was murdered while patting Mom's hand supportively. The performance was flawless, concerned family rallying around a troubled teen and her suffering mother. During what Mom called family therapy in the living room, I managed to palm Lily's phone while everyone focused on Mom's tearful performance. Excusing myself to the bathroom, I climbed out the window instead, my body weak but adrenaline pushing me forward. Mrs. Chen's house was only 3 doors down, but it felt like miles. Mrs. Chen's face went pale when I played one of Lily's recordings. She admitted hearing screaming that night, but Mom had explained it away as Lily having nightmares. Before we could discuss more, Mom appeared at the door within minutes, explaining I wasn't well and was having delusions about my sister. I watched Mrs. Chen's certainty crumble under Mom's manipulation, doubt creeping into her eyes. Back home, I began noticing Mom's patterns with disturbing clarity. She timed my bathroom breaks, counted my steps through a baby monitor app she'd secretly installed, even checked my pulse while tucking me in at night. Every moment monitored, every breath calculated. The house had become a high-security prison disguised as a loving home. Sarah started leaving my door unlocked at night, small acts of rebellion after overhearing Mom tell Dad about moving forward with the Lily Foundation once I was committed. The foundation, using Lily's name and image for Mom's glory, while erasing who she really was. The thought made me physically sick. One evening, I found Sarah crying in Lily's closet, clutching an old photo. She confessed that Lily had told her at Christmas about Mom hitting her, but Sarah hadn't believed it. The guilt in her eyes matched my own. We'd both failed to save her. Now Sarah was determined not to fail me too. Mom caught us together and immediately sent Sarah home, declaring that my delusions were contagious, and she wouldn't let me poison more family members. The isolation tightened like a noose. That night, I heard Mom on the phone with Dr. Morrison, discussing how I'd infected my cousin, and how soon they could schedule the evaluation. The next morning brought a new level of control. Mom set up her phone on a tripod in the living room, adjusting the lighting while I sat drugged on the couch. She smoothed my hair, pinched my cheeks for color, then started recording. Her fingers flew across the screen as she went live on Lily's Instagram account, broadcasting to 50,000 followers who still thought they were following my dead sister. I watched through heavy eyelids as Mom narrated my morning workout routine, calling me Lily throughout the stream. She positioned me on the yoga mat, moving my limbs like a puppet while explaining how grief had motivated this fitness journey. Comments flooded in with heart emojis and support for Lily's dedication. The manipulation was brilliant. Mom was creating a digital trail showing I'd voluntarily taken over my sister's life. The pattern became clear as Mom continued these daily streams. She was building evidence that would make any future accusation look like identity confusion. Who would believe I was being forced to become Lily when thousands of people watched me willingly living her life? The substances made it hard to resist, but I recognized the trap closing around me. 3 days into this new routine, Mom positioned me for another live stream. While she adjusted the camera angle, I managed to grab a notebook from the coffee table. My hands shook as I wrote in large letters, "This is Emma, not Lily." When Mom turned back to the camera to greet viewers, I held the sign behind her head. Most viewers missed it, but one person noticed. Jess, one of Lily's closest friends from the modeling world, took a screenshot before Mom spotted my reflection in a picture frame. Mom's face stayed pleasant for the camera as she smoothly moved to block me, but her grip on my wrist left bruises. She ended the stream early, citing technical difficulties. Within an hour, Jess appeared at our door with flowers and a grief counselor's business card. Mom's smile was strained as she invited her in, immediately offering tea. I watched Jess pretend to sip while claiming she was fasting for a photo shoot. She'd seen my warning and knew better than to drink anything Mom offered. While Mom prepared lunch in the kitchen, Jess sat close to me on the couch. She pulled out her phone, pretending to show me old photos of Lily while actually recording. I whispered everything as quickly as possible. The forced diet, the substances, the recordings on Lily's phone. Jess kept her expression neutral, occasionally laughing at fake memories to maintain the pretense. After Jess left, she tried calling the police from her car. The operator explained that family welfare checks required evidence of immediate danger and suggested contacting Child Protective Services instead. The system that should have protected us continued to fail, just as it had failed Lily. But Jess didn't give up. She started coordinating with Sarah through Snapchat, using the disappearing messages to build a network. They reached out to Lily's other friends, teachers who'd noticed her weight loss, anyone who might have seen the truth beneath Mom's perfect facade. An underground resistance formed, invisible to Mom's surveillance. I discovered Mom's real plans while searching for pain medication in her bathroom. Hidden behind Lily's old supplements was a box of syringes with labels carefully scraped off. The residue suggested Rohypnol or something similar. My hands trembled as I photographed them with Lily's phone, adding to the evidence I was building whenever Mom's attention wavered. Mrs. Chen called the house the next day, asking to speak with me about borrowing sugar. Mom hovered nearby as I took the phone, but Mrs. Chen managed to communicate through careful words. She mentioned how early the birds had been singing on the morning Lily died, specifically at 5:47 a.m. Mom had told everyone she'd left with Lily at 8 a.m. for their special breakfast. The timeline didn't match. Dr. Morrison scheduled my commitment evaluation for the following day. Mom packed a suitcase with Lily's clothes, explaining I'd feel more comfortable in familiar things. She folded each piece carefully, as if preparing for a twisted vacation instead of my imprisonment. Dad watched from the doorway, his face blank. That evening, my phone buzzed with a photo from Sarah. She and Jess sat in a car parked down the street, ready to help if I could get to the bathroom window. Hope flared in my chest as I waited for Mom to start her nightly shower. The moment I heard water running, I crept toward the stairs. Mom stood at the bottom in the dark, her silhouette barely visible. Her hands shook as she asked where I was going, but for the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. The perfect control was cracking. She offered me money to leave quietly, to not destroy our family's reputation. I refused, stating clearly that she'd already destroyed everything when she unalived Lily. The lights flicked on as Dad emerged from the kitchen with Dr. Morrison and 2 orderlies. The evaluation had been moved up without warning. I screamed that they'd unalived Lily, my voice carrying through the open windows. Neighbors' lights began turning on, faces appearing in windows. The orderlies hesitated at my desperation. One quietly asked Dr. Morrison if this was really necessary, doubt creeping into his professional demeanor. Mom tried to control the narrative, explaining I was delusional just like Lily had been before her accident, but her voice cracked on the last word, the mask slipping. Dr. Morrison stepped back, declaring he couldn't perform an evaluation with me in this state. He needed me calm first, buying precious time. Dad suggested waiting until morning, but Mom turned on him with venom. She reminded him that he'd agreed to this, that he'd said I needed help. The unified front cracked as neighbors watched the drama unfold. Through the window, Sarah recorded everything while Jess captured Mom's increasingly frantic demands to fix me. The desperation in Mom's voice grew with each passing minute. Years of careful control were unraveling in front of an audience she couldn't manipulate. I stood firm in the center of the chaos, refusing to be moved. I declared that Lily had died trying to save me from becoming Mom's next victim. The truth rang out clearly as more neighbors gathered on their lawns, drawn by the commotion. Mom lunged at me in frustration, but tripped over Lily's 2 small shoes I was still wearing. She sprawled across the floor, her wig sliding off to reveal patchy hair loss from stress. The physical mask had slipped along with the emotional one. Dad stared at her as if seeing her clearly for the first time. Sarah seized the moment to play Mrs. Chen's voicemail on speaker. The neighbor's voice filled the room, explaining she had security footage showing Mom's car leaving at 5:47 a.m., not 8 a.m. as she'd claimed. Dad's face went white as he processed the contradiction. He asked Mom directly about the timeline, his voice shaking. Mom's composure shattered completely. She screamed at Dad that Lily was going to destroy everything. The modeling contracts, the money, their reputation. She pointed at me, declaring I was just like her, another ungrateful daughter who didn't appreciate the opportunities they'd created. The motive spilled out in her rage, witnessed by everyone present. Jess quickly forwarded the recording to every contact in Lily's modeling network. Within minutes, both my phone and hers buzzed with responses. Photographers, agents, and other models expressed shock and support. The carefully constructed image Mom had built over years crumbled in minutes. Mom tried one final manipulation, claiming I had pushed Lily out of jealousy and she'd been protecting me. But I played Lily's recording where she expressed wanting to be normal like me. The love in my sister's voice silenced the room. Even the orderlies looked uncomfortable. Sarah called her mother, Mom's sister Helen, and played the recording where Mom had threatened Lily's life. The family network that had enabled Mom's behavior began to fracture. Aunt Helen's shocked gasps were audible through the phone as she finally understood why Lily had stopped attending family gatherings. Dr. Morrison tried to leave quietly, but I blocked his path. I demanded to know how many other girls he'd sedated for their mothers, how many paranoid daughters he'd silenced. Under pressure from the growing crowd and recorded evidence, he admitted to sedating Lily multiple times and nearly doing the same to me. He claimed Mom had convinced him we had genetic paranoia, then immediately stated he was calling his lawyer. More family members arrived as word spread through Helen's calls. I directed younger cousins to stay in their cars, showing more concern for their well-being than Mom ever had for mine. The moral high ground was clear to everyone watching. Lily's modeling agent pushed through the crowd, waving contracts. She revealed that Mom had forged Lily's signature on the last 3 after Lily refused to renew. The fraud was documented, adding another layer to Mom's crimes. The agent had suspected something was wrong but hadn't acted, another adult who'd failed to protect us. Mom attempted to confuse everyone by calling me Lily again, but I stood tall and stated clearly that I was Emma. I had survived while Lily hadn't, and Mom would pay for that. The distinction was crucial. I refused to let her erase my identity along with my sister's life. Dad finally broke when Mom accidentally used my real name while threatening me. She caught herself mid-sentence, but the damage was done. He saw how easily she switched between daughters, how little we meant as individuals. His face crumpled as the full weight of his complicity hit him. Family members began sharing stories they'd kept silent about for years. Text messages flooded in from Lily's classmates about unexplained bruises, teachers remembering dramatic weight loss, friends recalling her increasing fear. The network of silence that had protected Mom dissolved as truth spread like wildfire. I remembered hiding Lily's real diary weeks earlier after finding it in the attic. Racing upstairs, I retrieved it from under Lily's mattress where I'd concealed it. The pages contained dates, incidents, and Mom's escalating abuse patterns. Evidence Mom didn't know existed. Tomorrow would have been Lily's birthday. I realized with growing horror that Mom had planned to announce the Lily Foundation using me as the face. The final erasure of my sister's true self, replaced by Mom's fabricated version. The deadline created new urgency to stop her plans. More family arrived as word spread. Mom's carefully maintained image crumbled with each new witness to her breakdown. Cousins mentioned how Lily had stopped coming to family dinners, how she'd made excuses to avoid gatherings. The pattern was clear to everyone now. Faced with the choice to destroy Mom completely or show mercy, I chose truth over revenge. Lily would have wanted justice, not destruction. I calmly explained to the arriving police officers that we had recordings, video evidence, and witnesses proving my sister's death wasn't accidental. Mom's charity board friends received forwarded recordings from multiple sources. Their responses came quickly. They couldn't be associated with this scandal. Years of social climbing vanished as Mom's network abandoned her. The empire she'd built on Lily's suffering collapsed. Through persistent truth-telling, I dismantled years of lies in one night. Neighbors who'd believed Mom's stories about difficult daughters now saw reality. Family members who'd dismissed Lily's weight loss as modeling requirements understood the abuse. Friends who'd accepted Mom's explanations faced their own complicity. Mom made one final attempt at control, screaming that I was sick and having a breakdown. But no one listened anymore. The audience she'd performed for had seen behind the curtain. Her words fell on deaf ears as evidence mounted around her. Dad finally found his voice, declaring it was over. He acknowledged that Lily was dead because of them, because of her especially, but he wouldn't let her take me too. The admission came too late to save Lily, but it marked the end of Mom's reign of control. Two local officers arrived, initially deferring to Mom with familiarity that suggested previous calls. They asked if I was having another episode, revealing how many times Mom had used the system against us. But Jess had been recording everything, including their dismissive response. Ms. Patterson arrived with her husband, the police chief. As a mandated reporter who'd heard Lily's recordings, she required a full investigation, or would contact state authorities herself. Her professional standing and determination finally forced official action. I handed over Lily's phone with all the recordings, explaining how my sister had documented months of abuse before her death. The evidence was properly submitted this time, with witnesses ensuring it couldn't be dismissed or destroyed. Chief Patterson reluctantly reviewed Mrs. Chen's footage on his laptop, his jaw tightening as the timestamp showed Mom's car leaving at 5:47 a.m. He turned to Mom with professional detachment, asking about the 5.5-hour gap before her 911 call. Mom's explanation about driving around to calm down after an argument fell apart when she couldn't explain her clothing change or disabled GPS. Sarah pulled out her phone, showing screenshots of Mom's text to family that morning about taking Lily for their special breakfast, sent at 8 a.m., hours after Mrs. Chen's footage proved they'd already left. The digital evidence created an undeniable timeline of deception that even the police chief couldn't dismiss. I retrieved the box of syringes from Mom's bathroom, along with the appetite suppressants and forged contracts. The physical evidence piled up on the coffee table while paramedics examined me, documenting malnutrition, dehydration, and sedative traces in my system. Their medical report would become crucial evidence that couldn't be explained away as teenage delusions. Mom's desperation peaked as she pointed at me, insisting I check my room for proof of my obsession with becoming Lily. But Dad remained silent, no longer willing to support her narrative. His withdrawal of support was visible to everyone, the enabler finally refusing to enable. Sarah showed the officers months of text exchanges between us, documenting the abuse in real time. The consistency of my reports over time proved this wasn't a sudden delusion, but an ongoing situation I'd been trying to escape. Each message added another layer of credibility to my claims. Family members began leaving, their reactions split between those offering support and others muttering about family shame. The division was painful but expected. Not everyone would believe the truth over Mom's carefully crafted image. Some cousins hugged me before leaving, while others avoided eye contact entirely. The decision to stay in the house that night came from defiance rather than comfort. This had been Lily's home too, and I refused to be driven out by Mom's actions. I sat in her room surrounded by evidence boxes, claiming the space that had been used to erase me. At 3 a.m., Dad appeared in my doorway, his face gaunt with guilt. He apologized for failing to protect us both, then grabbed his car keys. I watched from the window as he drove himself to the police station, ready to confess his role in the abuse and cover-up. Dawn brought new developments as Mom sat in custody while Dad gave his statement. I remained in Lily's room, sorting through evidence with Sarah and Jess, preparing for whatever legal proceedings would follow. The house felt different without Mom's oppressive presence, like a weight had lifted from the walls themselves. Mom's lawyer arrived at the house, claiming grief-induced psychosis as her defense strategy. But I played the recording of Mom threatening Lily weeks before her death, proving premeditation rather than a momentary breakdown. The lawyer's confident expression faltered as he realized the extent of evidence against his client. Dad's confession revealed the final piece. Lily had discovered Mom had been drugging her since age 12 to maintain her modeling weight. She'd planned to report it to police the day of the hiking trip. The motive for unaliving became crystal clear, documented in Dad's sworn statement. Ms. Patterson returned, no longer maintaining professional distance. She acknowledged her failure to act when Lily first came to her, promising she wouldn't make the same mistake with me. Her advocacy would prove invaluable in navigating the system that had failed us before. The choice between pursuing maximum charges or accepting a plea deal weighed heavily on me. After careful consideration, I chose to pursue full charges. Lily deserved to have the truth told in court, not buried in a plea agreement. Justice required the whole story to be heard. Mom attempted emotional manipulation from jail, warning that pursuing charges would leave me completely alone. The threat might have worked months ago, but I'd already lost everything that mattered when Lily died. Her words held no power over someone who'd already survived the worst. The community response surprised me as Lily's real friends reached out with offers of places to stay, part-time jobs, and emotional support. They shared stories of how Lily had talked about me, how proud she was of my strength. A network of chosen family began forming around me. Mom's attempts to manipulate continued through letters she sent from jail, signing them as Lily. Sarah witnessed as I burned each one unread, refusing to let Mom use my sister's memory as a weapon. The ritual became a form of reclaiming power over my own narrative. Her lawyer dropped the case when Lily's medical records surfaced, showing years of mysterious illnesses matching common poisoning symptoms. The pattern was too clear to defend, especially combined with Dad's testimony about the systematic drugging. Mom would face justice without skilled legal defense. I visited Dad in jail once, needing closure more than reconciliation. I told him I forgave his weakness, but couldn't forget that Lily died because he chose Mom over us. He had no response, only tears. The visit provided the closure I needed to move forward. Mom's breakdown to her lawyer eventually leaked. She'd admitted she never meant to unalive Lily, just wanted her to be perfect. The confession revealed the twisted logic of a mother who saw her daughters as extensions of herself, rather than individual people. It would likely be used against her in court. Cleaning out the house became therapeutic as I sorted through our belongings. Lily's real clothes, not the modeling outfits Mom forced on her, went to local teens who needed them. Each donation felt like honoring who Lily really was, not the image Mom had created. On Lily's birthday, instead of Mom's planned foundation launch, I organized a small memorial with people who actually knew her. We shared real memories, her terrible jokes, her secret candy stash, how she'd practice her smile in mirrors when she thought no one was watching. The authentic tribute replaced Mom's manufactured legacy. While packing, I discovered one final recording on Lily's phone, dated the morning she died. Her voice was clear and determined as she spoke directly to me, saying she loved me and that I was always perfect exactly as I was. The message provided the closure I desperately needed. Ms. Patterson's family offered me a home while I finished school, providing stability after months of chaos. Their dinner table conversations and normal family dynamics felt foreign at first, but gradually became comfortable. They saw me as Emma, not as Lily's replacement or a victim to be pitied. Mom received 25 years to life for unaliving, while Dad got 10 years for accessory after the fact and child endangerment. The sentences reflected the severity of their crimes and the premeditation involved. Justice for Lily came through the legal system Mom had tried to manipulate. I began speaking at schools about recognizing abuse, wearing clothes that actually fit, eating full meals without guilt. The presentations weren't about fame or recognition, just helping other teens identify dangerous family dynamics. Each talk honored Lily's memory by potentially saving others. Surrounded by chosen family who saw me as Emma, I finally grieved my sister properly. The process was messy and painful, but necessary. Mom had stolen our chance to say goodbye, but she couldn't steal the love we'd shared. 6 months after that night of revelation, I lived a life Lily would have wanted for me. Authentic, healthy, and free from Mom's suffocating control. Her final gift, the knowledge that I was always enough, guided me forward. The healing journey continued, but I no longer walked it alone.